Thank you, and thanks for sticking around in the afternoon. It's the last session, but I actually don't have a lot of equations like my predecessor in my slide. I have more pictures. I actually have a video to show as well, and I hope it works. The other thing I wanted to mention, I've never been to a conference where before I speak, we actually have seen 3 slides of my presentation already. So if you notice during the morning sessions, some of the slides were already seen, but I'm going to explain more. So what I'm here is to talk about the city of Edmonton and to talk about their waste or our waste management system. And every story has a beginning, and in order to understand where we are today, you have to understand where we started. And I think this picture or caricature, which happened to be in place or to be presented in the Edmonton Journal at some point, it's really the start of our system, because about 30 years ago in Edmonton, when all we did was landfilling waste, no recycling, no composting, the city had to make a decision for an existing landfill to getting full and to look for another landfill. And this actually, the search culminated in this caricature because the city at this point wasn't able to site another landfill site. What this started, however, is the approach and the system we have today to avoid landfilling, to divert waste from landfill, and to generate energy or new products from what people usually call waste. So just wanted to give this a bit of a startup. I have a video, and I hope it works, and somebody can help me too.
Leaders see the world differently. Where there are obstacles, they see opportunities. They discover new paths. They bring people together to create something extraordinary. That is what happened here in the late 80s. A city of nearly 1 million people committed to making their part of the world a better place. Starting with a blue box. It takes a powerful vision to see the raw potential in what we throw away. And it takes a community that works together to realize that vision. To inspire innovation in the form of one of the most advanced integrated waste management centers in North America. Leaders aren't afraid to dream big. And Edmonton has long been a pioneer in not just waste management, but in using waste as a resource. Through vision, research, and innovation, and an ongoing collaboration with the community, Edmonton continues to turn waste into a sustainable resource for the future. For generations to come.
So, from a pure landfilling community into what we're trying to do right now is to reach about 90% of residential waste diversion from the landfill. We have 3 key programs to do this, and they were all mentioned in the video here. Obviously, our recycling program, Blue Box program. Our organics program has a large composting facility, and soon we'll start construction on a new anaerobic digestion facility. And last but not least, the Edmonton Waste to Biofuel facility, which we partner with a company called Enacam, mentioned a couple of times this morning already. So this is our goal. This is where we want to be. This is where all the magic happens. This is the Edmonton Waste Management Center in the northeast of Edmonton. And you see a large landfill here, which is full now, about 13 million tons of waste being landfilled in. But as a result of us not finding another site 30 years ago, this landfill is now full, and we have to live without a landfill and relying, if we're landfilling, on other landfills outside of the city. So this is a quick summary about the Waste Management Center, 550 acres. There are 12 waste processing facilities on place, 2 major research facilities. Research, obviously, one of the reasons we're here today, and one of the things I want to focus on, is that with the development of the centers, we rely, and we're still focusing a lot of research and innovation and technology development activities as a municipality, which is at times very challenging to do. Those who work in municipalities or in governments know what I'm talking about. We also deal with closed landfill, which we have to take care of, and also with biosolids, which come to us from our wastewater treatment plant. With this full infrastructure in place, now we have 9 contractor partners or tenants on site, and really over 500 people employed, and which is not an unimportant fact if you look at traditional waste management operations. What came out very well, I think, in the video is our effort in working with the public, and I think that's really, really important. Engaging the people of our community, residents, engaging school kids to come. So we have a program for all the Edmonton grade 4 students in Edmonton and Edmonton area. Per day there's 2 to 4 tours. They have waste and recycling in their curriculum. They come to our facility for the tour. We have 2 full-time staff actually to do the tours. And these are the people who come home and teach their parents what to recycle and how to properly compost. So it's an enormous, it's of enormous importance for us to have that communication with the residents, because if the residents are happy, usually politicians are happy, and they support us through the city councils over a large number of years here as well. We have an extensive Go Bagless campaign, which you can see here. What you see here is Andrew Ferrens. He's a hockey player, won the Stanley Cup with the Boston Bruins, and he was born, lives in Edmonton now, plays for the Oilers, lives on a great contract, doesn't play. But he's our spokesperson. He's very engaged in environmental activities, and it's very important for him for us to have him on board to promote the things we do. Some quick slides about the landfill. As I said, it's getting full. We recover the landfill gas. We have 3 engines. Our utility partner who operates the facility produces up to 4.8 megawatts of electrical energy here with the conversion of landfill gas and the reduction of greenhouse gas emissions from the landfill, which was discussed this morning here as well. Our MRF, we have a blue bag, blue bin program in place, and we've heard a lot about it today. It's getting to capacity. It was recently increased capacity to process about 50,000 tons of recyclables per year. What's important here to mention for the MRF, the material we can't put into market and can't recycle, we're going to process in what I'm going to talk about in some of the next slides into what we call a refuse-derived fuel product, which will be converted in our waste-to-biofuel product. The composting facility is large, can process about 100,000 tons of the organic fraction of the municipal solid waste. We also co-compost our biosolids to produce annually about 60,000 tons of compost. Most of it goes into the agricultural and horticultural use. We have some challenges. We are not source separating and collecting our organics. So we rely on a mechanical system to process the organics out, which has some downstream challenges, and we're constantly working on improving our product and getting more shipped out, and also a higher revenue from the product itself. I spoke about the AD facility briefly. This is the latest project we've been working on. We see that we have, with the growth in Edmonton, we have more organics coming to our site, and we are looking to process more organics from the residential stream, but also more organics from the commercial waste stream into what's called a high solids anaerobic digestion facility, also dry digestion facility. This facility will generate about 1.6 megawatts of renewable energy in terms of power. It will also generate renewable heat. The power we are generating through this facility will be offsetting our power we get from the grid. There's there's an opportunity in the Alberta regulation which allows us to do that. So we're offsetting fossil fuel power with renewable power we generate on site. We're also reducing greenhouse gas emissions. This morning we heard a presentation about greenhouse gas legislation or cap and trade system. We have in Alberta a similar system like that in place for a while now. We are generating greenhouse gas credits from our composting and also from our landfill gas facility, but also will reduce greenhouse gas emissions and generate offsets from the AD facility. More commercial waste to the facility. Commercial waste is something which is not legislated in Alberta, doesn't really need to come to us, but we received a lot of interest from commercial enterprises in the city, like for example the University of Alberta, colleges, or also supermarket and other restaurant chains who want to do better, who have sustainability goals in terms of waste diversion, and we hope to attract more of that waste to this facility as well. One of the institutions we have, or one of the arms we have in place to promote research in the area of waste management is what's called the Edmonton Waste Management Center of Excellence, and it's an institution with 3 founding members: the City of Edmonton, our utility partner EPCOR, which runs our wastewater treatment operation, and it's a private utility, fully owned by the City of Edmonton though, and our collaboration with academia, and in this case our university in the city, the U of A. A lot of good work has been come through this center, and one of the goals I have, or coming out east and hearing about better steps to connect research, industry, and governments, is to really broaden what we do in Edmonton, or help broaden what we do in Edmonton, and to see it on a nationwide approach. I'm really interested in focusing on that. I also want to talk about our waste to biofuel project, and these are the slides you've seen before today. So it's a heavily recognized project around the world. We've got a lot of interest. People have been waiting for this project to materialize a long time, including the City of Edmonton. This project has 3 elements, and I'm going to go through this one by one. The first step is what we call the refuse-derived fuel processing facility. And what we do here, we basically take the waste we cannot recycle or we cannot compost, and process the material into a very homogenized kind of like fuel. That's the name. It's called refuse-derived fuel. In Europe, people call it SRF. Sorry, I forgot about it has a different nomenclature in Europe. This part of the project, the city is responsible for this. So we have infrastructure in place which produces the fuel for what's then going to be processed at the waste to biofuel facility. The waste to biofuel facility itself is owned and operated and has been built by a company called Enachem. It's their proprietary technology. Enachem, you've also heard the name before today, is a startup, or is a very young company still, originally founded from the University of Sherbrooke in Quebec. Their chief technology officer is a former professor there, and he grew the business together with his son and his 2 sons into what's invested a lot of money, or raised a lot of money, to build, to scale up the technology over pilot demonstration, and now the full first commercial scale operation, which is hosted in Edmonton. There's also a part here on research innovation. The city, together with NACAM and funding from Alberta Innovates, which is the provincial research technology arm in the province, they have committed funding, or they did commit funding to build a research facility which houses basically a pilot NACAM facility, but also provides a laboratory and space for other companies or researchers in the field to come into this facility, plug and play, and develop their technology further. This is a quick picture about the infrastructure in a refuse for the RDF line. So what's basically happened is there's a lot of shredding, a lot of removal of materials we don't want in the RDF stream. That includes metals, fines, heavies like glass and stones, non-ferrous metals, and really another shredding step, which really looks at the end, if you can see this, looks almost here what one of our project engineer holds in her hands, a very confetti-like, very homogeneous material, which then gets fed to the NACAM facility. So one of the disadvantages, or one of the differences between, let's say, a traditional waste-to-energy facility and a gasification technology such as this, the at Edmonton, it needs a very homogeneous stream. It needs a lot of processing to get to a very homogeneous stream, reaching certain specifications for the fuel. I mentioned the research facility. Its full title is the Advanced Energy Research Facility. And you can see here, it's what's called a pilot unit based on the NACAM process. It's not really a pilot, it's almost full industrial. It's about 300 kilograms per hour, which this facility can process. We can produce methanol and other chemicals of it. The facility, again, is a partnership with Alberta Innovates and NACAM as a company. And it also houses a lot of other technologies from all around North America who come and test their technologies out here. It provides a really great space for researchers and technology commercialization companies to come in and do their work in Edmonton. You've seen this slide before. This is a cross-section about the NACAM process. You see there are 4 separate key steps in the process, of which A is the feedstock preparation I talked about in this project we're doing in Edmonton. That's the responsibility of the city. So to process that waste. And then B, there's a gasification step. So the conversion of the carbon residues into a synthetic gas. That gas needs to be cleaned initially to get to a certain purity. Until then, through catalytic synthesis and purification steps, this facility or this technology can produce methanol. This is how it's built right now. And in the future, down the road, ethanol. The company is also looking to do work on advanced chemicals with higher value than methanol and ethanol to create a better product with higher revenue value in this. But the plant right now in Edmonton is built to methanol. Here's another picture you've seen. This is the full-scale facility at the day of the inauguration. It almost looks like very typical for Alberta, like a refinery. The city of Edmonton is supplying about 100,000 dry tons of RDF per year, and NACAM takes that material and wants to produce about 38 million liters of methanol or ethanol from it. This is the world's first commercial waste-to-biofuel project. The city of Edmonton has a long-term agreement with NACAM to provide that material, and the products, obviously, as I mentioned, initially methanol, and later this year, the installation of another module to this plant will convert the RDF into ethanol. So this is kind of like a brief overview. Again, a quick reminder of our goal, where we came from. It's always important to mention it's a long journey. It takes time, it takes effort, it takes a lot of research and development, a lot of innovation, and obviously with that political will as well to reach it, and we're hoping we can reach it in the next couple of years. So with that, thank you very much for your attention.